I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. Despia's gotten fucking too big brain, and I'm tired of having to think about my plays. So I decided to pick up something more linear, and by pick up, I mean re-pick up something that I played a long time ago. And by a long time ago, I mean like 3 months ago. And yeah, I picked up Swordsoul again. This deck's stupid fun. I picked it up after playing Despia for quite a few months, and now I'm back on this deck, and it feels like home. So I'm gonna go over the list with you. I got third place at locals, so I think this deck's finally figured out for how I want to play it. It may change depending on how often I see certain cards and how often I see certain side deck patterns, so let's just get into it. 3 Mohi, standard, 3 Ecclesia. I see people cutting this to 2. I don't really agree with it, because like, this is one of the few ways you have to out token collector by using this as your only tuner or your tuner access. So this thing, I think, in my opinion, is mandatory to play at 3. 3 copies of Longboy, 2 Taya, pretty standard stuff. 3 copies of Ashuna, 3 copies of Vishuda. I used to play this at 2 when I played the Hulk Fibrax version, but now the Rorodon's banned. I'm putting this back to 3. And now that I have more Tenyis, I'm thinking about playing less Circle and more copies of Vessel. Well, and by more copies, I mean play Vessel at all, because at this point I'm currently not running any. So, 3 copies of Adhara. This one I'm probably going to bump down to 2 if I put Vessel in, just because when you get Vessel, you don't need 3 of this. It was kind of fun, though. This is nice because you can actually use this to out Token Collector. If you have this plus Long One and a discard, you can use this to make Yazi pop summon Taya, and then Taya effect summon a token, and then you're good. You got Chthana. I play Circle, so you gotta play this. Yeah, except for the engine cards, hand traps, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, and 3 copies of Effect Veiler, and 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. My locals consists mostly of either mirror matches, rogue, or Despia players. These tend to be, in my opinion, best against Despia and Swordsoul and the like. This is especially good against Despia, and these are especially good against Swordsoul. They also are really good against birds. This specifically can turn off the barrier statue, which is nice. And you can use this to just basically play it into a board. This is something you can draw as your 6th card, and it's still really good. Veiler, on the other hand, I might consider cutting this to 2 and then playing something like a Duster in the main, just because I'm so tired of playing its mine and then just getting bodied by it because I play 1 copy of Blackout and I always banish it first off of my my Pot of Desires. So yeah. I'm also debating about playing Nib in the main, just because a lot of people game 1 don't respect it, especially Swordsoul. They usually make the big long one, and then they can get punished by that pretty hard. But that's something I'm just considering at the moment. No current plans to play it right now, though. And then the one other trap, Blackout. You play 1. It did come up where having the second one would have been nice. The aforementioned Mystic Mind players are particularly problematic, but it also matters because if you open Chthana, you can use this to banish, or you can banish the first copy off of the Shishao, summon a token, effective Shuna, summon the Chthana, and then make another level 8 synchro, which is dope. So yeah. Spells, 3 copies of Emergence, pretty standard. 1 Summit. People are cutting this. I don't really know why. This thing is great for just extending if you know your opponent doesn't have Nibiru, especially game 1. This also lets you play through hand traps, and it's one of the few cards you can actually top deck when you have nothing in hand to actually keep playing. So I think this card's pretty gas. And then 3 copies of Heavenly Dragon Circle. I am probably going to cut this to 2, just because, don't get me wrong, it was great to play around hand traps, but the hand traps that people are playing right now are not 3 Imperm and 3 Veiler. They're mostly Ash, Bells, and DD Crows. So this becomes particularly weak, so I think I'm going to cut this to 2, and then play 2 copies of Vessel, and I'm probably going to cut an Adhara to play Vessel. So yeah, that's the current plan at least. And then the rest of the spells, Desires, Call by the Grave. Dude, this thing straight up has Maxi Syndrome, like dead ass. This thing needs to be either at 3 or banned, because this card is so fucking sacky, and if you just draw it, your hand is just so fucking nice. Your opponent has to open specifically double hand traps, or if they have Nib in hand, they have to open Imperm and Nibiru, otherwise you're just going to blow them out, which is insanely good. So anyway, yeah. And then Desires is standard. You're probably going to play 3 of this when Call by gets banned. And then this one, when comebacks to 3, you're going to play 3 of this. This card's busted. That's it for the main deck. Extra deck, 2 copies of Shishao, and then a copy of Big Long One, and a Chinging. I'm still kind of conflicted on this thing, dude, because the majority of the time I'd rather just deadass make Baron and then protect it from a hand trap, where this feels almost like win more. It was funny though, I did get to outmine with this twice the other day, so that was fun. And then chaining is hilarious against birds, because they have literally no way to out this unless they open specifically Dark Ruler, which is kind of cringe. Speaking of which, just because I know he's fucking watching, somebody in my locals actually hit me with with Dark Ruler Lightning Storm in 2 different games in the same match. That guy's just literally just better than me, so. Yeah, this card's dumb against that matchup, and then Shisha you gotta play 2, because you'll use 2, and sometimes you even want 3, but I haven't gotten that far yet. Baron, standard, Dragite. This is one of my flex spots. I like it, personally. I might put in Chowfang over this when I play Vessel, though. But this has been working out pretty well. Again, I would see a lot of Striker, and this is also pretty good against Despia as well, as long as they don't have Lost, so I'm going to keep playing it for now. Yazi and 2 Baxia, pretty standard. 1 Crimson Blader. This thing actually was pretty clutch this weekend. I saw a lot of mirror matches where my opponent would just end on like Shishao and like Monk and stuff like that. So you can punish those boards specifically where they end on a Monk. And then this was also good against ABC Ethereon stuff, because you just swung into their piece and then they couldn't tag out. Or they could tag out, but then they would not be able to summon their Buster next turn or their Regulus. So this was basically like a 1-turn Vandy's. And if you keep it alive, like Blackout or something, this thing is just continually busted. And then last synchro, 1 copy of Draco Berserker. This card is almost busted, dude. It's literally a bootleg Boral Sword, but the problem with it is that this doesn't out token collector as much as I wish it did. Because by the time you get to this, the token collector's already on field. And this thing doesn't do anything, but theoretically this is good against it because you can just deal with it permanently. Problem is like the other outs to it, like Baxia, Yazi, and like shit, even this thing, if you manage to get access to a Nibiru in game 2 or 3, it's not enough because token collector really sucks, if I'm honest with you. And then links, Shaman, 3 copies of Monk. I think 3 Monks is standard now. I love being able to use my Tenyis. The Tenyis are literally better than most of the Swordsoul cards if you can get them to work properly, especially game 2 and 3. They let you play through your token collectors. They're extremely good removal. Just opening a Tenyi, like a Shuna or a Vishuda is just so fucking gas. It's actually amazing. So yeah, this card's amazing. I love it. And then Shaman, I didn't make a single time, but theoretically, this card's busted because you can play through Nibiru and stuff. But it's not come up yet. This might be cuttable, but I do want to hold on to it until I do decide whether or not. I can show you my side deck, I suppose. It's not very good, though. The side deck is definitely going to be changing, especially with the new battles, or not battles of whatever, the new Duelist pack comes out, because Droplets is going to be in there. And Droplets is definitely going to be making the side after this weekend. So yeah, side deck, 3 Nib, 3 Bell. These need to be Crows, straight up. I didn't see a single Despia, but every time I saw this, I wanted to see this, this was garbage. This didn't come up. I'd rather have had DD Crow, because DD Crow at least can hit the mirror match. This can't really do anything with it, so I'm going to replace this for DD Crows. Duster, 3 Cosmic. I fucking hate mine, and mine shits on this deck, so I'm going to play this. Theoretically, you play Anti-Spell, but I'm a coward, and I don't want to rely on Anti-Spell, especially since it's not nearly as good going second. So, yeah, 3 of these. 3 copies of Chalice. Another thing I thought about playing, well, I'm obviously going to be playing Droplets when I get it, but I'm going to also play probably Dark Rulers in the side, because it's not going bad first or second game 2 and 3. Because you're 90% of the time your opponent's going to side in Token Collector, and D-Barrier and Droplets turns off that card as well. So, and then 2 copies of Dimensional Barrier. This needs to be a 3. I need to cut one of these cards. Probably going to be Bells. I'll probably cut this, or like maybe the Duster, depending on how I feel. And then maybe turn these into twins. But yeah. I didn't see this once all day, or all weekend, so. Yeah, that's pretty much the deck. It's nice to be back on this deck. The deck's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot simpler than Despia, which probably speaks to my ability as a player that I prefer something linear, but whatever. This deck's a lot of fun, and just resolving Moyi and like Shishao with the fucking big long one on the field is a lot of fun. It almost reminds me of like Teledad in a way, where you could just draw cards and then draw those, or turn those draw cards into more draw cards, which is just a whole lot of fun. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, whatever. You guys know the jizz. But I'm going to be in the comments for a lot longer than a lot of people think I am. So even if it's like 2 or 3 weeks out, still comment, because you might be surprised that I might actually do stuff. I love talking card theory, so if you guys have any questions or concerns or think of any other spicy text for this deck, let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.